Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Otaku Heaven coming at you with a review of Assassination Classroom Season 2, Episode 2. Now, this episode starts off with Kayano coming out of the shadows to create her own assassination plan. She's always just been support up until this point. Not a bad support, because she's a scientist, but a support up to this point. On the news, she heard that basically they were overproducing eggs, and Japan just had to go dispose of them, discard them. And she was like, "That's such a waste. I could do something with these." And some point earlier in the story, her and Koro Sensei were basically eating pudding, and Koro Sensei confessed that he would like to jump into a pile of pudding this one time in his life, and basically he couldn't afford it. So she heard this, and she's got the government funding behind her back, and she's got the discarded eggs. So she decided to make one of these things for Koro Sensei, testing a bunch of previous scale models because she's always wanted to do it before anyway. So she got the government to fund it, and they made a huge gelatin mass with caramel and everything on the top, the complete gelatin thing. And in the center, they have a bomb embedded with anti-Koro Sensei BBs. So they bring Koro Sensei out there and let Koro Sensei eat all the pudding and stuff, and they say they have to go back to class, so they watch from the hallway, ready to detonate the explosive whenever they can. So Koro Sensei starts eating about half of it, and then Kayano starts to flip out because she wants to stay there as a monument, basically, because of how much hard work it took her to do this. But everybody's like, it's going to melt anyway. But she wanted to at least try some of it. So Koro Sensei's currently eating all of the pudding, and then he starts to go underground to the bottom of the pudding, defuses the bomb, and grabs the bomb in his mouth, runs back up to the students in the hallway, and says, "I started eating the pudding until I smelt a faint sense of plastic." So the guy who planted the bomb, he told him, next time pay attention to even the smallest odors when you're planting a bomb. So after that, he made desserts from the clean parts of the pudding for all the students, and said that next time in their civics class they're going to talk about it because it's illegal and wrong to use pudding or to use eggs that are going to be discarded, because they're not supposed to be doing that. Um, Anyhow, moving along, we got to see a pretty fun game that I believe would be awesome in like paintball or something along those lines. Basically, the way it worked, Koro Sensei stood back and guarded the jail. It's a cops and robbers type game. Basically, all the students got a head start. They were learning parkour before, so they're going to parkour up this mountain, and then Karma Sensei is going to chase them. Now, some of the more skilled students, such as Nagisa and Karma didn't get caught, but the whole time after they got a head start, Irina Sensei has been sitting there planning how she was going to tag Karma Sensei, and then in the event that she did that, for some reason she thought that was going to mean they were going to get to do it. And then at some point near the beginning, before it started, the students were calculating about how many Karma Sensei could capture, and it's like, no way with this allotted time that he could capture more than 3. But Karma Sensei well overshot 3, and he captured 4 like right off the bat, after basically hearing where they were and then running up that side of the mountain. But after those people were captured and sent down there with Koro Sensei, Sugino was like, "There's no way that we're gonna all be able to escape, so I need to free some of us." So he was trying to signal to the guy that was captured over there to distract Koro Sensei, and then he gave Koro Sensei a picture of a girl with F-cup breast, and Koro Sensei's like, "I can look away this time, but hurry up." So Sugino managed to free everybody, and then Ritsu popped up on Karma's phone and says that basically 4 captures have been free. So Karma Sensei calls Koro Sensei and is like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then move along to capture, because the time limit is short. He captures 3 or 4 more of them, and then they manage to escape by telling him a sob story that her brother would go into shock in the event that she actually got captured. So Koro Sensei let them go, and Karma's flipping out at this point. But they the time runs out, so the mission is over. They all managed to escape. Karma Sensei didn't manage to keep one in capture, or Koro Sensei didn't manage to keep one in capture, even though Karma captured 7 of them. And after that, basically, we move along to them walking down the street, or one of the students walking down the street, and they spot a magazine that says, "A Yellow Menace, Koro Sensei underwear thief, stealing underwear of women who have F cup breast. So when they go back to the classroom, they confront Koro Sensei about it, and they look at him with basically a bunch of disgust when Koro Sensei was expecting a good thing out of his class. They was expecting good views of him. But anyway, after that, Koro Sensei was like, I was planning a barbecue, and then he tries to pull out these sticks with the barbecue meat on it, and it's just bras. Then they search his drawer and they find a list of all the women in the area with F cups, and on top of that, they find a list of all the students who are girls bra sizes. And beside Kayano, it's just got flat chested forever, or flat forever, which I thought was pretty funny the way she reacted to it. But anyway, moving along, at the end of the day, Koro Sensei was just all shot down and stuff, so he left without saying anything because he felt as though he had lost the students' respect, which he would have in the event that he actually did it. And then Koro Sensei is like, there's no way that he did this. There's only two things up there that are high that Koro Sensei wouldn't want to lose: our respect as a teacher and to die. Those are two things he wouldn't want to do or lose. So we got to figure out who actually did this. So Ritsu basically analyzed all the places in the area to find the most likely place for him to strike next, and there was a 97% chance that they would strike at this show that was coming up because there were more F-Cup girls there. Anyway, they go to camp out and they see someone in the bushes dressed up in a thief costume like Koro Sensei, and then there was another one just like Koro Sensei. So they realized that there was actually somebody faking it, and he ran over there to steal all the bras and stuff, and as he was doing it, Koro Sensei pops up out of the ground and captures him. And then all of a sudden, a big building erects around Koro Sensei and the captive of anti-Koro Sensei sheets, so Koro Sensei cannot escape. But how they did it was the guy that taught over Killua, that's what I'm gonna call him because I don't remember his name, but he looks just like Killua. The guy that taught over Killua basically had all of this set up and borrowed one of Karma's men to plan all this evidence on Koro Sensei, and then he led to this trap. But the thing that really got me, I believe, is a plot hole, is after Killua decides that he's going to jump in and try to fight Koro Sensei now, what happens is there's a whole big opening in the top. Koro Sensei could have easily escaped, but he didn't do it. So I guess that was a reward for his plan being so good or something. But as he's coming down and gets a little bit closer, he opens up a vector of about 10 different spear-like things, sort of like Doc Ock from Spider-Man, if you remember that. But anyway, we're left off there with basically Killua / Doc Ock versus Koro Sensei, and it's going to be very interesting to see what Killua got after all of his training, and how the next battle is going to go, because he got pretty close to killing Koro Sensei last time, and now it's a pretty confined space where Koro Sensei can't even touch the walls. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this fight actually winds up going. But that's all, folks. I'm going to give this episode a 6 out of 10, because it was alright, but I didn't enjoy it that much. I mean, there wasn't really nothing that significant to happen. It was just really set up for next episode. But that's all, guys. Peace.